Keith, I don't have a background.
Oh, one of one of the AMA backgrounds.
Yeah.
It's okay. You can just use your regular blue one. It's fine.
It's me. Oh, okay.
Hi.
Hello.
My screen says unable to start video. You can't start your video because the host has stopped it. Is that intentional?
No, it is not. This is the same thing that happened to you yesterday.
I thought it was just me, but I'm glad it's not.
Okay, let's see what we can figure out. Oh my goodness.
All right.
This is literally the first time this has ever happened. Well, yesterday
I've never seen that before.
How about if we try it this way? Try it now, you may be able to.
There we go. Can you see me? No. Okay, now let me try this.
There we go.
Hello.
There we go.
Hello. Good job. I'm impressed. Good troubleshooting.
Yeah.
I never know when something like that doesn't work is like, oh crud, I don't know how to troubleshoot Zoom. And usually I'm very technologically savvy, but there's just something about, I just decided Zoom is going to win,
And
I've just given up on it.
And it typically does. So, so I have no clue. So we're going to wait for some people to come in.
Okay.
I, in fact, invited people in your office. So,
oh, really?
Yes,
Nice.
we try to invite whoever we're interviewing. We try to invite the people that they work with because
that's a nice thing.
We feel like everyone needs a break now and then, and
absolutely.
And we do everything over Zoom, so we feel like since we're doing everything over Zoom, try to give them a Zoom something that is just not the same for everything all the time. And
absolutely.
So we'll see what attendance ends up being this time. Okay. I think there's something going on, that some kind of training or something that I was unaware of during this time, but
it's all right.
And if it doesn't go a full hour, it is fine. We'll just talk and we'll get to know you before you leave us. And
soon.
And then, just have fun.
Great. Well, I think this is really a nice thing that you're doing. It's a great thing.
Well, thank you. This is number 10. This is number 10 for us. Yes. So we've
Very
had
exciting.
Bubba Cunningham did our first one. Then I think second was Becky Mangini. Who else have we had? We had Chief Perry from Chief of Police, Dawn Osborne Adams from the Ombuds office, Amy Johnson, the new Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. And then there's been some more, and I'm gonna stop trying to call everyone's name because I'll forget. And then leave someone out, but there's been some others. So
that's great. And what do you use with this content gets broadcast? What are your venues?
Actually, we do this for union staff. Just so that the university is somewhat siloed, and you work with the people you work with, and that's who you see, that's who you talk to. And so we do it so they can learn what other people are doing, who other people are.
Nice.
And then we do put it on our YouTube link. Not sure if many people go and watch them later or anything, but we put them there in case people want to go back and look at it, or some things like.
So great.
I've actually gone back and looked at some of them, because some people give some information and I'm like, okay, I need to remember that, and then I don't remember it, and then I have to go hunt through the hour session and be
no.
Okay,
that's painful.
So yeah, we have a couple people here. And basically what we do is a lot of what we're doing right now. And it's just us talking, getting to know you, asking questions, and you know, and that's really just the whole of it.
Great.
Because let's see here. And so we've not officially started, but we've officially started. So we're just going to keep on going.
It's been recording quite some time. Is that okay? You
yes.
don't want
I had to hit
start.
No, all of this is fine for content. It is perfectly fine. And plus I had to record because to let people in, I have to be broadcasting. So I just went ahead and hit that.
Yeah.
Okay. So now your title is Vice Chancellor of, wait a minute, I have it. Innovation, Entrepreneurship, and Economic Development. Is that right?
Correct. I'm going for the longest title.
You may be winning. So can you tell me a little bit about that? I'm not sure what that entails as far as the university standpoint.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know breaking down each word, what each word means, but
right. Well, and even that, there's a lot of the use of the word innovation it's a very overused word. We define it. We have an official definition for the university. And so we define innovation as successfully implemented unique and valuable ideas. And so we don't use it as a synonym for creativity. So when we're talking about innovation, it means ideas born at the university that get translated into practical benefit for the public good. So that could be a company, but that could be an idea, that could be a new law, it could be a new way of teaching us to behave through public health, wear a mask, whatever that is. The knowledge that we have here at the campus to find its way in our service mission, research, teaching, and service. How do we do service? So service means making something better for the public good, and that means translation. So innovation has that title. Entrepreneurship is a subset of innovation, and that is starting either a for-profit or a not-for-profit company and using that as a vehicle. We do believe in the entrepreneurial mindset and skill set for everybody. So you can be a very entrepreneurial person and never start a company. And that means that when there is something going on that you either see as something that's wrong and you want to fix it, or that you see an opportunity of some place you could step in and take advantage of an opportunity, you see yourself as an agent to do that. So you feel like your voice matters, that you want to take action, either to solve the problem or seize the opportunity, and that you're willing to work very hard. That doesn't mean you have to start a company or a not-for-profit. That just means you're going to behave the way that entrepreneurs do, meaning they don't know where they're going to get their money. They don't know how they're going to conquer their idea and make it the most accepted idea out there. And they're willing to take a lot of risk and work very hard, and then convince a lot of other people to go along with them. So we think those behaviors are super, and that each of us can benefit from that. Because if we're the kind of people that sits back and complains and says, I wish somebody would fix that. Well, what we want for Caroline is to say, that needs to be fixed. And, I'm going to be part of that solution, and I'm going to do the hard work. And then the economic development part of it is, it really comes about in many ways. Just having a major university like ours is a powerhouse for economic value. So all the jobs that are created through being Carolina here in Chapel Hill and on campus, but throughout the state. And then the startups that have come out of Carolina, we track them in a database, and we have about 700 companies that we're tracking, and they have created more than 18,000 jobs in North Carolina. And so just the startup piece of what we do on campus is creating a tremendous economic value for the state. So it's all of this. It's really the service mission, innovation, unique and valuable ideas, entrepreneurial mindset and skill set. You can learn the skills you need. And then the value, the economic, but it's also the social value. So we take a holistic approach to this, and we don't just focus on, it's all about economic startup. It's really social value as well as economic value. Long answer to a long title.
Well, it warrants it. And I love it. Like, especially what you said about the entrepreneurial part, because when I was in business school, I was getting my MBA, and everyone's like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to start my own company. And I was like, for 2 years, I was like, I am in the wrong place. Like, because I have what you would consider an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
But I do not have the entrepreneurial drive. I was like, I do not want to own a company. I was like, I will work for anyone and I will work hard and do all I can, but I do not want that responsibility of being like, you are the top person, but I'll help you solve and your problems and work. But for 2 years, I was just like, I am in the wrong place with the wrong people. So it's
but each one of those people that thinks they want to be the entrepreneur needs a partner like you. Because no one person can do this alone. And so, getting you to be a partner with them and going along, but not being the top dog, you don't want that responsibility. And I think you're really smart, because it is really hard and it's really risky.
Yeah.
And, you know about all of the wins in the tech world that we hear about. Like, I know you remember YouTube. When YouTube came out, it was a bunch of hackers that created it, and it was pretty clunky. It's still actually kind of clunky, and they didn't have the best video software, but it was all that was out there. And they got millions and millions and millions of people to sign up to use this quirky little platform called YouTube. 2 years later, Google bought it for more than $1 billion. So that's what we think about. But for every big win, there are hundreds of thousands of people who struggled, worked very hard. They never got lucky. Their companies didn't make it. And, it's a great experience, but it's a lot of hard work. So I think knowing that about yourself is really what we try to teach in our entrepreneurship curriculum classes. We have a minor in entrepreneurship here on campus through the Schufert program and the college, and then the undergrad business program at the B school, and then the grad program. We are trying to teach people, know yourself. That's the beginning. Don't go chasing this dream if this isn't right for you. That's the first thing to know. So you're already ahead of the game.
Oh yeah, because there are days where at 5 o'clock the workday is done and I want to be finished.
Yeah.
But if you are the person in charge, it doesn't really happen that way.
No, it doesn't. You're never finished.
No. So tell me, what was your career path? What got you to this point? Because I doubt that there's ever been a person that says, I want to be vice chancellor of innovation, entrepreneurship, and economic development at any university.
Yeah. We are one of the few universities that has that title. So you're right. It's a scarce resource. And let me see. Let's go backwards. Instead of going from the beginning and come. All right. So I came here 11 years ago when Chancellor Thorpe invited me to come be the Chief Innovation Officer. We didn't have a Vice Chancellor's position at that time. So I was Special Assistant Chief Innovation Officer. Now, we had never had a Chief Innovation Officer. So when Holden called me and said, would you come and join me at Carolina to do this? I was at a foundation, which I'll tell you about in a minute. And I said, but what is a Chief Innovation Officer at a university? I know what that is in corporations, but I don't know at a university. And he says, I have no idea. He said, you come and we will figure it out together. And I thought, I love this chancellor because he's very entrepreneurial. He's willing to take a risk. He doesn't have to know everything, you know. And so we got together, and the first week he said, so what do you want to do? Can you write a strategic plan? And I said, sure, I'll write a strategic plan. It'll take me about a week. I will write it, you read it, I read it, and we'll throw it in the trash. Because I guarantee you, nobody's going to care what you or I say about this strategic plan. But I said, we can create and strengthen an intentional culture of innovation and entrepreneurship at Carolina. And we can put a process in place. So, you know, everything you do at the union is about the process of how you are moving students through your ideas for what they experiences you want to provide for them, what knowledge building you want to provide for them, what facilities you want to provide. You have a whole, I would call it your curriculum, although we don't tend to think of student union as a curriculum, but you do know what you're trying to get across to your students and the experiences you want to help them have and learn from. And so that's what we wanted for the whole campus is, you know, how can you adopt this entrepreneurial mindset and skill set and figure out how to translate ideas from the campus and get out and have greater service for the state and beyond the state. So that's what we did. And we made it up. We put together a process, and we had about 45 external people, alums, a nice eclectic mixture of people, some very wealthy donors, some school teachers, some, you know, we tried to make it a very diverse group. And then we had students, and we had an incredible group of students. Shruti Shah was our student lead, and she was really amazing. And then we had a group of faculty. And so all together, we got together and they wrote the strategic plan. It took them 9 months. I'm sorry, can you hear the yard people outside of my house?
Yeah, but it's fine. We're going to keep
Is
going.
that right? Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. Of course they have to come right now. I don't know, I could maybe move, but I'm surely he'll be done soon. And so, you know, we wrote a strategic plan and then we took it through. So then Carol Folk came to be chancellor, and she's the one that created the vice chancellor's office. So she took us into the next phase, which we call phase 2, institutional building. And now that I'm retiring from UNC, Chancellor Kevin Guskowitz is going to take innovation, entrepreneurship, and economic development into phase 3. Now, I don't think he knows what that is, and I certainly don't know, and I wish them all the best because everything evolves. So that first evolution with the first chancellor was about culture building. The next one was institutionalizing, creating this unique vice chancellor's office, and now Kevin Guskowitz will take it and create his mark on this. But it's still all about creating value, taking ideas and making them real. So that's my career at Carolina, 11 years. Before that, I was 15 years at the Kauffman Foundation in Kansas City. It's a $2 billion foundation. So the guy that created it, Mr. Kauffman, Ewing Kauffman, he was a poor Missouri farm boy, made his way in the world and ended up having a pharmaceutical company and a lot of wealth. And he found out he had bone cancer. He had 1 year to live and he had all this wealth. And he said, look at what entrepreneurship did for me. I created a company, and I'm most proud that I created 3,000 great jobs. You know, if you look at the Kansas City Royals at the Kauffman Stadium, that's our guy.
Okay.
And he hired me, and I got to work with him and create that foundation. And I was there 15 years, ended as the vice chancellor for entrepreneurship and strategic futures. And that's what I left to come here. Before that, I left my own companies I ran for 12 years. Before that, I was the first learning disabilities teacher in the state of Missouri. So I've done everything. There's no rhyme or reason to my career trajectory, which I always tell students, don't worry about the whole journey, just get that next step. Because you can't predict what life's going to bring you anyway, unless you know you're going to be a neurosurgeon or an attorney or something that is really, you know, that's it and you're prescribed. that's pretty rare. Most of us, we kind of have a journey that is somewhat intentional and somewhat random and a whole lot of luck. And so that's been my career trajectory. It makes not much sense, but it's been a ball.
Yeah, I don't know. Mine makes no sense either. I've been all over the place and still not sure where I'm going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to back up to one thing. You said the student that worked on this was Shruti Shah.
Yes. Yeah. Do you know Shruti?
Okay, is that Shruti Shah that is married to the doctor?
You know, I don't know who. She wasn't married when I was working with Shruti. She left here, went and she got a master's degree in DC area. She went to the West Coast and she started a company and she raised, I think, something like $200,000 or something. And then she got out of that company and I kind of lost track of her. So I don't know.
So I don't know if it is the same Shruti Shah that I know. She would come in, she'd come into where we worked and we would refer to her. Someone would say something and everyone would be like, who are you talking about? They're like, you know, the one that looks like she should be Miss Universe.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
She's an amazing person.
Yes.
Now she's still out in San Francisco. So does that help you?
Okay, so this
is the same person or not?
Okay, no, this has got to be a different one though. Okay.
So our Shruti is still in San Francisco. I'm looking at her LinkedIn.
Okay, because I was like, oh my goodness, we're running in some of the same circles.
Yeah.
But when you live and work in Chapel Hill, that is bound to happen with anyone you talk to.
Yeah. No kidding.
All right, and just a reminder to those who are on the call, welcome to throw your questions in the Q&A and I will read them. And so now we've gone through your trajectory to get here. So the question is, what are your plans when you leave UNC? What's next?
Yeah, what's next? That's a great question. I've been just trying to wrap this all up here. It's a big task to end my career. I've got a tremendous team that I work with. And so they're taking the ball and running. So I'm just trying to make it as smooth a transition for them as possible. Everybody that knows me knows I wrote a novel. Okay, so I had to have surgery for a torn muscle. And they said, you have to not even lift a pound for 5 weeks and you can't go back to work. And you have to be super, super careful and let this muscle heal in your stomach. If you don't, you're going to have to come back in. So I thought, what am I going to do? I have to be, and my, work says you can't work. You've got to be on medical leave. So I thought, okay, I've never done anything like this, but why don't I write a novel? I mean, nobody was ever going to read this book, right? And it was just something I was doing for fun. Well, I really got into it and I wrote this novel that I really like. And I actually had it reviewed by the senior editor at Simon & Schuster. She gave me great feedback on it. And it is a story of my heroine of the story is called a flawed individual, as all of them are. But she's a female. She's super, 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 super smart. And she is a cyber threat expert. And she works for MI6 and all of the security. So I love my heroine. Of course, I made a super like a Lara Croft sort of a superhero female. And so I like her a lot. And I put her through a lot of stuff in the book. So I'm going to finish my book. It's sitting there waiting for me to do the final edits. And so that'll consume me for the first few months. And I can get that off my plate and see if it goes anywhere. If not, it's okay. It was a great experience. And I'm gonna just figure it out. I'm gonna just let life flow for a while. I'm not going to have a time schedule. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11, 12, 1, that's my day. So I think it'll be a beautiful thing to actually try to be instead of do. And I don't know how good I will be at that. I have no experience. So I'm going to try to learn.
Okay. So I'm guessing this will be your first time in a while to just be and not have an agenda.
Absolutely. Right. I
Okay.
left home when I was 17 to go to college and had to pay for my own college, didn't have support from my family. So I've been on my own since I was 17. And so it's a long journey. And this is going to be an amazing challenge for me to figure out how people spend their time when they don't have a set agenda for them.
I feel like it's going to be great for you.
I do too.
I feel like it's going to be great.
Yeah.
So
Can I fail at meditation? I don't know. I don't know.
okay. If there is such thing as failing at meditation, I fail at meditation. Because that's when you're supposed to be quiet and centered, and prolonged periods of silence do not sit well with me. So
Me neither.
So we've been in the middle of COVID and all of this. We've not been able to go anywhere, but we are getting vaccinated and all of that. Yeah. And you are retiring, so you're going to have time. Where do you want to go?
I spent most of my work life traveling the globe. So I've been everywhere. And that's really nice because I got a lot of that out of my system. So I would like to see the United States. I have spent less time in the United States traveling than I have the globe. And so I would really I'd like to get to know North Carolina. I can't tell you even a lot about North Carolina because ever since I've been here, I've been busy. And so, I think I'll start local and span out from there.
Okay, well, that's good. I think you should make it a point to come out to the areas where Beth and I are from.
Yes,
you'd
where
like
is
that. We're from Western North Carolina. Beth is from Spruce Pine, and I am from Rutherford County, Rutherfordton. Rutherford County, home of Lake Lure. It's where they filmed Dirty Dancing and Last of the Mohicans.
Oh, well, you know why I wanted to come to North Carolina? Because of Last of the Mohicans.
There you go.
So that was playing, it's an old film, but it was playing in a movie theater. And I sat there and I thought, that's the most beautiful scenery. This had to be shot in Canada. So I sat there waiting for the credits to roll, and it said North Carolina. And I said, okay, I've got to live in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Now what I'm saying is I better go see North Carolina while I still can.
Yes, Rutherford County, that is our claim to fame. We don't have much.
Beautiful.
All right, so we have a question in the chat from Kimberly Yingling. It's a wonderful question, and so Kimberly, I'm going to invite you back to all the rest of our AMAs because this question is wonderful. So it says, you've done so much in your professional career while juggling lots in your personal life. Do certain valleys or low points stand out? And then what peaks and high points made it all worthwhile?
Wow, Kimberly, that's a great question. So family, work, I've been blessed, honestly. I think so much about life is luck. I mean, you prepare yourself as much as you possibly can, but if you don't get lucky, you just don't get lucky. And so I feel I've been so lucky. So I think the highs are my husband and I have been married a long time, and we were both divorced. And so this has been many years ago when our children were little, and we found each other, and then we've been together. So what a blessing to have a life partner. And he had 3 children and I have 2 children. So we have 5 kids, but they're my kids, and my kids are his kids, and we have grandchildren. And so that's a huge blessing. So if there's any peak, it is that I am very fortunate to have a lovely family it's a modern family, the blended family, but they all get along and they feel like they're a family together. And there's nothing more important to me. So I would say that's my peak. And of course, the valleys, I'm so resilient. I've been through some terrible times, suffer just like everybody, life gives you things. And while they're terrible, I went through them, heartbreaking, I come through them with resilience. And we had a mindfulness person, Karen Bluth, speak to our group, and and then also Barbara Fredrickson, the love researcher, and they both talked about riding the waves. And so there's these highs in your life, and so those are your peaks, and then you have your valleys, which are the waves that take you down. And they said you will have those down waves as long as you have more up waves, and you can ride those more times than the down, you'll be fine. And I think I've been lucky. I've had more waves that go up than waves that have brought me down. And for everything that brought me down, I'm a stronger person.
That's great. I love that. So
Can I ask one?
yeah, you just Beth, you are welcome to just
This is my
jump in
first
whenever you want.
co-hosting session, but I always like to ask the questions to kind of get to know the person a little bit better. So I'm curious, what movie can you watch over and over again besides The Last of Mohicans that you never get tired of? What is one of your favorites?
To Kill a
Why?
Mockingbird. There's no movie that will ever surpass that. I remember, having read the book and then finding out later there had been a movie made. I wasn't going to watch it because nothing could surpass the visualizations I had of the characters in that book. And I didn't want to see this old movie and they would mess up my book. But I did. And then I fell in love with it. It was like they had gotten inside the way I visualized the characters. So there was a real match there. They're very true to the book. And that's just a beautiful book and a beautiful movie. I don't think anything's ever going to knock that one off. But what a great question.
Well, and it's really cool that it stayed close to the book. True to the book makes, sometimes that's the way to be even better. So cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
Happens to be one of my favorite books of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie happens to be one of my dad's favorites of all time. If it is on, he is watching it.
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Well, and that's one thing I'm going to get to do. I haven't watched a lot of movies since I've been working at the university so hard to build this program from kind of scratch. And so my sister keeps saying, did you see that movie I told you about? I go, hey, give me a few more days. I'm going to watch some movies pretty soon.
So when is your last day?
March 31, which is what, next Tuesday or Wednesday? Mm-hmm.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah, that's it. We're on the countdown.
We got in just in time.
I know.
So going back a little bit, I'm assuming, and this is an assumption, so completely correct me if I'm wrong. So you're from Missouri?
I was born in Illinois, which is next door to Missouri, so good enough. I'm a Midwesterner for sure. I spent my first 18 years in Illinois. Then I went to college and then started living in Missouri and then came here.
Okay, so where'd you go to college?
I went to William Jewell College and to Kansas University. KU.
Okay. All right. So now an important question with what's going on, with everything that's going on right now. Did you fill out an NCAA bracket? I
did.
You did.
I did.
How
and
are you doing?
I let Carol, I'm doing terrible. I'm just doing, well, that's the craziest thing. What is going on? So I was loyal to UNC for a couple of rounds. I just couldn't not do that. I knew I'd probably get pinged on that. But I mean, Abilene College, I'm sorry. No one could have predicted these. This is the craziest year. So yeah, it's up and down. It's all, and I had Baylor for the win, so we'll see.
Okay, well, I'm in second place in the unions right now, but still, like,
who do you have for the final?
I have Michigan.
You do?
I have Michigan.
Okay.
And I think there's only one other person that picked Michigan, but I'm a bit ahead of them, so I can still win this thing.
All right.
I
Good
really
for
need
you.
I need Gonzaga to lose, but yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
I need that one to win.
Yeah,
That's about the only one I still have
Gonzaga
left.
to win. Thank you very much.
But yes, I think Abilene Christian,
Yeah.
they ruined it for a whole lot of people. Like,
That's what's so fun about March Madness, because somebody always does this, right?
And
the underdog.
And I was willing to take my hit and because you're gonna take one, but I set it up to where it was Carolina that I'd take the hit on, and I'd be like, okay, well, I went with my heart.
Yeah, I did that too. Yeah. Only so far though.
Yeah, I didn't go with them all the way. But
far.
like I took a hit on them sooner than
My teams just aren't playing. They're just going home. They're getting the COVID pass home.
Yeah, pretty funny. It's been crazy.
But otherwise, other than that, are you a sports fan?
I go to yes, I am. And I was an athlete in high school and college. I was on the gymnastics squad. And I played field hockey and soccer and state Illinois archery champion.
Oh,
little
nice.
known fact. So anything to do with sports, that was my life. And even in college on the gymnastics squad. And so I love sports, and I go to all the basketball games, go to all the football games. I am going to go and really start supporting the women's field hockey team. I just didn't do that because I just didn't have enough time to do it. But since I played field hockey, I'm a huge fan. I'm going to be a big advocate of the women's field hockey team. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. Well, maybe I will see you there, because I try every year. Well, this year it's been. Yeah. This year does not count towards my efforts.
No.
So it cannot be held against me. I try to go to see every sport at UNC at least once.
That's great.
Throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to do that, and I'm even the ones I don't understand. I don't know what's going on. Like women's lacrosse, I'm just like, if the people in blue start cheering, I cheer with them. I don't. So
good enough.
So yeah, that's great. And so you're this Illinois State archery champ.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Which is something else that I said I'm going to pick up and learn how to shoot a bow and arrow.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
You have to be surprisingly strong too. I mean, it's
a lot of. You have to be very strong. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I've been working out a little, so we'll see.
You should be fine.
Because there's actually like a lady in, I think, Hillsboro that teaches it. I think it was.
Oh, really?
So may give that a try once.
Yeah.
Once we're free to move about and things are a little less crazy, but So
if you could change places with a TV character for a week, who would that be?
A TV character. Wow. I don't watch TV. That's such a great question. I think I would pick somebody like on a Sunday morning talk show that does these more in-depth interviews with people. I don't know who they would be. I don't know their names, but I think that would be fun to do, because to really get to do a more in-depth analysis of somebody and their contributions. They've actually covered some cases out of UNC on the CBS Morning Sunday show. And I love that kind of short documentary work that they do. So the story they told is they went into this home of Hannah and her family. And Hannah has this rare disease, and it's called Gans disease. And she was fine until she was 3 years old, and then her body started deteriorating. And this has all been covered on the news, so I'm not revealing any, proprietary stuff about this family. But we have people here at this university working to solve her issue. So this family's seen their little girl deteriorate, and she's going to die. And so they start raising money. They find our professor, they raise $1 million. They start investing in his research. Our office does the tech transfer work, which is protecting intellectual property of the university, and then finding licenses and getting that out into patients. That's our job, part of our job. And so here is our professor, and here is Hannah's family, and they're all being interviewed on the CBS morning show. And she got I think she was the second person in the country to get an injection of this gene therapy. And I looked her up the other day, just see, can I find anything about her? And they did another story for her, and she's 16 now. And without UNC's intervention and gene therapy, she would be dead. And so those kinds of small documentaries, it's so beautiful that they're trying to bring good news in these stories, because everything we see on television is bad news. And I love it that they take the time, they're patient and tender with the story, and try to uplift our hearts. So I think that would be pretty cool.
Sounds great.
Well, I really hope that happens for you. And as you were saying it, I was thinking, I really hope it's CBS This Morning, because that's my favorite.
They do a nice job, don't they? Yeah.
So one of our coworkers, Damu, and Damu loves, I love Damu because Damu always asks this question, because he really, it's like, so Northern, Midwest, or Southern barbecue, what is your preference?
Not Southern. Well, okay, Southern is too broad because, okay.
We'll say Carolina.
Okay.
We'll say North Carolina.
Okay. When the Democratic Convention was being held in, I think it was Democratic Convention was being held in Charlotte.
Charlotte, yes.
The Jon Stewart show was putting people on the street. So John Oliver was here, man on the street, doing interviews in Charlotte. So they were doing this bit. And so John says, how's the barbecue? And John Oliver said, well, there's Memphis barbecue. There's Texas barbecue. There's Kansas City barbecue. There's Korean barbecue. And then there's North Carolina barbecue.
Yeah.
So I would say Kansas City barbecue is my favorite. And everything else pales in comparison. And North Carolina barbecue is my least favorite.
Oh, and you've been here 12 years.
I know. I still have Kansas City barbecue shipped to me.
Okay, how does that work?
It's frozen, yeah.
From whom? From where?
Jack Stack Barbecue, Kansas City. Best ever.
Okay, so I can order this and they will
send.
They will. Okay.
Baby back ribs, baked beans is all you need to know. Jack Stack Barbecue.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down since you're leaving the university, and I can't like shoot you an email and be like, "What was that you said?" But then
Jack Stack Barbecue, baby back ribs, and their beans are filled with meat. You know, the little tender. Ooh, so good. Yeah.
All right. So there you have it. North Carolina is her least favorite.
I'm sorry, I feel badly.
And you know, even within North Carolina, no one agrees on barbecue. You have the Eastern and the Western, and so it's just
nobody ever agrees about barbecue in the whole world.
So it's a whole lot of just back and forth, like.
Yes.
And I mean.
And Kansas City's like that too. You know, they're the barbecue wars in Kansas City. They're not all the same at all.
And people are serious about their barbecue.
Oh, yes.
So. What's the sauce like?
It's a smoky tomato base. It's less vinegary. I think it has less vinegar and more tomato and a lot of smoky taste to it.
See, now I think I'd like that a lot.
It's good.
A lot. Yep. And I'm gonna order Jack Stack Barbecue.
Okay.
I'm excited. Like,
yeah, it's good.
This is just a question that we always ask. So as you're leaving, you're retiring, what do you want people to remember most about you?
That I was a kind person, cared about everybody, and worked really hard and did some really cool things for the university in a way that was respectful of people, and that I didn't leave bodies in my wake. I think if people know how much I care about people, that's the ultimate goal.
Okay.
What's one or two of the most innovative projects that you've seen come through in your years at UNC? What really stands out? Like, wow, that was a really cool one.
That's really going to be impossible to answer, because just like that story about the gene therapy, when you see somebody that can solve something like that, where all throughout history people have died from this, and you see somebody came up with some way, one of our researchers, Ned Sharpless, figured out that when you get cancer treatment, especially therapy, it damages your DNA and your cells. So if they're doing mitosis while you're getting radiation, then it's going to damage that. And so now you have this, it's poisoning your body. He figured out how to protect your DNA and your cells. He can make them go to sleep, let you get your therapy, and turn them back on. I mean, and that I can give you 1,000 stories. I met a guy, I don't even know his name now. It's been a long time. He's a professor of anthropology. He just met him randomly one day, and he started telling me what he was doing. Well, he works in Chile, and he's excavating ruins there. And what happens in poor communities, if anybody finds a dig that has anything of value, once the researchers leave, then they will, sell the artifacts. And so he worked with the government in the country and with this small community and said, I need you to protect this site. This is your heritage. I'm not taking this out of the country, right? I'm just a scientist that's here to discover this, but you can't let it be stolen and sold away. What do you need? What could I do for you in exchange if you'll protect this? And they said, we don't have water in our village. And he said, well, how about if I figure out how to get you water? Will you protect the site? He figured out how to get running water to their village. He's an anthropology professor. I love that story because it just goes to show you the ingenuity of the human mind and when he's motivated. And so in exchange, they got what they needed. They protected the site. He worked with the cultural heritage of that country and created a curriculum which that country buys from him. That gives him enough money every year, the money that he makes off of the curriculum, to pay his trip and graduate students to go to that dig. Is that the most entrepreneurial person? So you just never know. The stories are endless.
Those paths, the different paths that just merge together.
That's right.
Wow, that is truly amazing. Like,
yeah.
A person figuring out how to do something that's not even in their realm of study. It's exactly. Just, I guess it speaks to the human desire to see something fulfilled and an accomplishment made. That is. Right. Right. That is so with that, because I feel like I could sit and listen to you tell stories like that for hours. Is that, or is it something else that you will miss most about leaving?
It's definitely the people, because I won't have that intimate access. I will follow them, but it's not the same when you're helping people do the things that they care about. And that's why I've always loved working in the field of entrepreneurship, because I'm just somebody going along the journey with you, and I'm trying to help you. And I don't have a value judgment about if you're going to be successful or not, because I'm not smart enough to pick winners. So I never try to do that. I just try to help you learn, open doors for you, make connections, be as helpful as I can, because this is all about you using I think of each of us, the humans on this earth, is we have one unit of human potential. And some of us are afraid, and some of us don't try for fear of failure, or some of us don't believe we have the right, that our voice doesn't matter. Everybody's voice matters. Everybody has the right. And anything we do, and I know you are doing the same thing, you're releasing that human potential, being guides with people. That's a beautiful thing. And even if I'm not going to be on campus doing it there, I don't think I'll ever stop doing that in my life. Because I feel like sometimes students that I mentor will say, thank you so much. You've meant so much to me. And I'm always honestly saying, it's the blessing you've given me, not me giving you the blessing. It is that privilege of being on somebody's journey with them and playing just a small role. So I will miss that, all of the people and working to help all of these amazing things happen.
Well, I'm sure that you are going to be missed as well. Like, I've just met you today, and I feel like, oh my goodness, my friend's leaving me. So,
so kind.
so Beth, you have any more questions? You always have you always have the fun ones. Like I'm like, okay, I have to go into my
and the random ones.
You know, I'm always like, let me go into my Oprah Winfrey, Anderson Cooper, deep thought-provoking, and Beth's like, let's do something fun. Get out of the way.
Well, I'm curious, what is your favorite go-to meal that you cook? Like that's not barbecue.
Not barbecue.
But what is it that brings you comfort, that you want to just go in and it makes you feel good? And
I know this isn't going to be fun, but I'm a huge vegetable person. So Brussels sprouts get me really excited.
Wow.
And combining them with fresh mushrooms that are sauteed in butter. Yeah, I mean, I can get really excited about vegetables. So
are you going to have a garden?
Maybe. So for lunch day, I had this beautiful salad, So yeah, that's not the typical thing. And then there's barbecue. So I have to balance. I don't eat barbecue very often because I have to have it shipped in. So thank goodness I only eat that a couple times a year.
Well, maybe you should share some of your Brussels sprouts recipes, because I'm not excited about those. So I would love to try to be better at that.
Yeah, email me and I'll give you my bacon and Brussels.
That sounds better. We're getting there.
Everything.
See, for me, those are not something that I'm ever excited about or ever I really want this. But if you make them and I eat some, I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. I'll take some more of those.
Right.
All right, and so you said you have grandchildren?
I do.
Grandchildren?
Yeah.
Are they near? Are they?
Yes, we have a senior at Carolina. He's going to graduate. So he's right here at Chapel Hill. And his brother is here in town. So 2 here, 2 in Denver, and 2 in Savannah, Georgia.
Okay. Well,
not bad. Not bad places to go visit.
I was going to say, those are nice vacation towns.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then one's graduating and they actually get to have a graduation. So
I know.
So
I'm so happy for our poor students.
I mean, we've been through so much this past year. It's just amazing, the resilience of not just students, just people in general. So for you, what from just because we are at just about exactly a year that we were told, go home, don't come back, and we thought we were coming back. Oh, it'll be 6 weeks and we'll all be back and it'll be back to normal. So what is the biggest lesson you've learned in this year?
That crisis can teach us if we will open our minds and hearts to it. I think we've all learned so much during COVID. We've learned that we don't have to pollute the planet as much, driving all over the place, that we have to have these expensive buildings and that we all have to be there, and that life is regimented. The thing I think what innovation, this is a really pertinent question to innovation. Innovation is challenging us to go beyond the known and break the rules. But our brains, the physicality of our brains, wants us to be homeostatic. So our hypothalamus says, keep everything in balance. You get out of balance, the body says, no, you need to stay here. Stay in the groove, stay in the known. And that is an efficiency mechanism of our bodies. So we just get in our groove. We go up to campus, we park in the same place, we do XYZ, we always do that way. The crisis shook us out of that and gave us this moment of creativity and innovation. And if we will but learn from it and take that seriously and say, instead of like, I long for the good old days when we could, and I do, I miss hugs. I'm a big hugger. I miss hugs. So I want those back. But not everything we had was good. And so I think this is a moment where we need to be reflective about what we learned.
I will 100% agree. We can move forward in different ways. Like I can let someone else sit in my seat when we have our departmental meetings. I don't have to have the same seat every time.
Like, be radical.
I know that's
baby steps.
You can ask Beth. Like that is a stretch for me. I had like this. Oh, I'm a creature of habit.
It makes us feel comfortable.
Yeah. Well, Beth, if you don't have any more questions, I am, and we're about at time anyway, and it has been a delightful and wonderful time for me.
Wow.
Yes,
Beth,
thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. This is a wonderful thing that you do. It's really a sweet way to get to know you all. And thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
And,
well,
I wish you all the best. Call on me. I'm going to be here in Chapel Hill. So, if you need me.
Okay.
We may let you be a co-host for some. You can come in and do your feel good.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Well, you can actually thank Beth for your being here. Beth is the one I was telling you about that was like, no, you have to get her. She's like, I think you, it was the communications meeting.
You spoke at the Communications Council meeting, and I was just like, wow, she's great.
Yeah,
she's got some great stories. So definitely.
Good.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Beth.
So on behalf of all of us at the union, thank you so much for taking part in this and being a part of it. We wish you all the best in your last 6 days at UNC and infinitely beyond that as well. We wish you all the best and hope that you are able to embrace the next adventure that comes your way, because I have a feeling that you are not just going to sit down and sit still.
No.
So we want to wish you all the best and thank you. And then to everyone that's on here, thank you for coming. It has been a pleasure. I hope that you all had fun. Judith, I hope that you had a good time. Beth, thank you for co-hosting and being here.
Well, Keith and Beth, thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. I wish you all the best. I'm so glad that you're at the student union and our students get to have you in their lives. So
thank you.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Until next time, this has been episode 10. So we'll see you all later.
Bye.
Bye.